Hi, this is Danielle and
Kyra.
And you're listening to Scrunchy Fi, a show by mamas for mamas. Here we cover all the creative ways to make money, save money, and invest to reach financial freedom and live the life you want.
How was your Thanksgiving? This is a day post Thanksgiving.
Yes, it's the day post Thanksgiving. So this is the first time we really didn't do anything. So in hindsight, I don't know if I like that or not. My partner had to work, or he didn't have to, but he chose to work. And again, in hindsight, I'm like, why? I mean, he got paid double, which is nice, but I don't think it was worth it.
Yeah.
And then I made this elaborate dinner for the kids and set them all down with a candle and everything, and they didn't touch a thing.
Oh my God.
So I was like,
typical.
And no, and I was like the only adult, so I was like, okay, I'm having an interesting experience. So in hindsight, I think we would just travel to go see family, since I guess I don't have a ton of family, and now it's becoming clear. So, but how was yours? I know you went to go see your family, right?
No, actually, we had a Friendsgiving. Oh. Yeah, we had a Thanksgiving with friends, and we did it potluck style. So everyone brought a little dish. So it kind of like separated all that, like one person does all the work thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Divvy up the cost of Thanksgiving, which can be elaborate. So and we follow a vegan lifestyle, so I brought in vegan dishes, and a few of the friends brought in some vegan stuff, so that was really sweet. My daughter, did she try anything? No. But my son did. He's a year and a half, so that was nice. But it was like challenging. Nobody sat down me and my partner, we didn't sit down at the table at the same time. Like, we had a tag team. It's just like that for a while, right? So
yeah. True.
And today is Black Friday. Black Friday.
That's right. Yeah. So tell us. The audience would love to know, what are you buying today? Or not buying?
Yeah, right. Black Friday, no buy. It's nice to get a deal. Every mama wants a deal. I haven't looked. I really need a new computer. And I think today would be a good day to buy, right? But I haven't done enough research. I'm always like, I need to research and make sure it is the deal, make sure it's the item I want to buy. And then computers is so processor and all this stuff. I don't know. It's too much research. So I've just been stuck in not buying because I haven't done enough research. So, which is kind of nice too. I've saved myself from buying a computer because I just can't get over is it the right product for me yet? But in the past, I've lucked out on Black Friday. When I was getting married, I got a lot of great deals because Black Friday came before the wedding, and we got my husband's wedding outfit, not full on tuxedo, but we got that at 75% off, and his wedding ring, we got it on a deal. So that was a good big saver for a wedding. And then I think we got a few Black Friday deals because my daughter that was right after she was born in October. So Black Friday is November, but I think at that point it was a month after and a half or whatever. And I was like, oh, I think we need that. So we kind of got I forget what items it was, but we got a little bit of a relief there. So which was nice. But this, actually my husband's thinking about changing careers. So he's looking into a course online, and they have $1,000 off for Black Friday. So I was like, you better do it. Now's the time.
What career is he switching into? Now I'm curious.
Yeah, so he's interested in doing bookkeeping. So I was yeah, he has pivoted a lot throughout his since I've known him through careers. I met him as a bartender, and you have to actually get licensed for that. And then he transitioned into a massage therapist, and you have to get licensed for that. And then bookkeeping, I mean, you need a license, but you definitely need to do the course and study and all that. He does really well with learning the information and everything. So I was like, if you're gonna do it now. Now it's a deal. So
I remember you did a post on ROI, return on investment, for I think it was massage school.
Yeah.
Um, are you gonna calculate the ROI for this
Oh,
bookkeeping course?
especially so I think the course 2022 price is like 2,500. So they have a
Mhm.
thousand off. So the price drops down to 1,500. And yeah, they're saying like after a couple clients, yeah, I will definitely be calculating ROI on that. And he actually got a great deal for the massage therapy, the schooling for that. I think he got a scholarship. And massage therapists, if they go off on their own, they make some good money. Like I think that
Mhm.
without having to, like, you have to do a trade school, but without having to go to like, mainstream university college, like trade school, and being able to make some good money, like massage therapy is a great option. So let's talk about, we talked last week about financial independence, and I want to like drive home that financial independence is for everybody. It's not for the rich. It's not for men only. It's not for like people in extravagant lifestyles or working somewhere where they can really bankroll. I want to like drive home that financial independence is for everybody, and especially for mamas. Me and you, we have pivoted to this mindset of financial independence at some point earlier in our lives. And, I'm sure we started out somewhere where it was um, modest. We had modest income, modest lifestyles, modest, we didn't have kids then, but we have kids now. Like we've gone through a lot of transition and we've still focused on this financial independence.
I started off my career mostly working for nothing, and I did like internships to get experience, right? The catch 22, my solution to the catch 22 of you need experience to get a job, that I had to go get experience for free to then become qualified for the types of jobs I wanted in psychology, mental health. So I started working at a very young age, like 10 years old, at an ice cream factory. And then ended up at a grocery store until I was 18. Then I was a nanny throughout college. Now, all of those times, I had no idea what saving was. I didn't know what a 401k was. Um, I spent all of my money. Everything was just like, how much money is in my bank account? Okay, that's how much money I have to spend. Like, that's
Yeah.
literally my mind. That was my mindset. It was only when I went to work at an eating disorder facility where I was in an office and I had some like lag time sometimes between like the work I was doing and like I'd have these like hours of pretty much kind of sitting there and just being a human that had to just sit there and like had nothing else to do. And so I just researched all this stuff about finances. It just randomly, right, that I came to that. Like I don't even know how. And so the mindset, even though I wasn't making a lot of money at that time, I think I was making around $40,000. That was back in 2012. So even accounting for inflation, that was not an amount of money that really someone could live on very comfortably in the Bay Area, especially the county I'm in, which is very expensive. Um, and so even at that relatively low income, I was a single person, right? I didn't have kids, I didn't have other responsibilities. I was able to kind of finagle my living situation where I did have some extra money. So I did start putting money into a Roth IRA, and it was accessible. And even though I wasn't even as frugal as I am now. I lived right across the street from Whole Foods, and I would go there all the time. Like living near a grocery store is a little
Mhm.
bit dangerous because like if you need anything, you just walk over and then ooh, but this is on sale, and so I was spending a lot of money on food. And I would go to like the little boutique tea shop next door and just like buy their little cute things. And I had no idea what budgeting was at all. I mean, um, so given like pretty lax spending, I was still able to kind of have this extra money and put it into investments, Roth IRA, index funds, instead of Roth IRA. So I think it is accessible to everyone. I think it's a mindset. It's looking at money uh, really broadly and understanding that it's an exchange of energy, like kind of like your money or your life, that book, right?
Mm-hmm.
we're working, right? We're working and we're exchanging our time for money. And if that's truly the case, then you're giving away or you're spending your hours, your minutes every time you buy something. And that's not to stop you from buying something. That's just really just so that you understand the value of money and the value of what you're doing when you're spending money. And I think that that mindset alone, no matter how much money you make, is going to shift your perspective as far as like what you want to do with your money and where you want it to go. And so every time I invest money, I think like this money is now going to work for me. Like I'm buying my freedom in the future, and I would much rather buy my freedom in the future than upgrade my bed. Mm-hmm. Now, not everyone has the finances to upgrade their bed or to do that, and I understand. But if you do encounter more money or start a side hustle, like that's the mindset that can help you move toward financial independence instead of going, hey, I work hard, I deserve a nice bed. Now that's true too. You do deserve a nice bed, but is your bed that you have good enough, and would you rather have the freedom?
Right. Yeah, that's interesting that you say that because like for me, from where I started, I feel like I was always kind of like savvy with saving money, but I was kind of savvy with spending money. So I too was like buying the little trinkets and, you know, buying the specialty drinks and all this kind of stuff. But I was like, oh, well, I'm saving some money to the side. And what's the typical American saving percentage? Let's, what, 5% or something. So I was like, oh, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I didn't have a financial independence mindset. I had the mindset where I work for my money and I spend my money and I'll save a little bit for retirement. And I think that's like the typical understanding of working and living, at least here in America. So I also read that story, that book, Your Money or Your Life. And I was going through transition because me and my husband were going to go travel for a year. And that kind of stemmed out of like, just this desire to travel and just feeling like I had this void that I needed to fill, and it must have been traveling. So we were selling all our items because we had an apartment and I didn't want to store it. So I'm selling these things that I spent money for, and now they don't have value anymore because I valued traveling, and that also meant that I valued the time for myself because I was quitting my job. So I'm reading this book, selling my items, and that I think was when the mindset started to shift into a financial independence mindset, because before I saved money and I had a 401k at like 17. I don't even know what I was doing, but I just had this like saving mindset, but that wasn't enough to be a financial independence mindset. So shifting to time is money and shifting to where is your value, and everything that you purchase is kind of like a trade-off because you're putting in those hours and working for money to buy those items. So eventually when I went into like budgeting and tracking my expenses, I know a lot of people kind of like budget in the sense of let's write down all these numbers and let's hit this number. Like, you know, our budget for food is $500, not a penny more. I never took that route to budgeting because of my mindset. I took the route of expenses and tracking my expenses because that's important. You need to know what your expenses are so that you can find out what is your financial independence number. But I never put me or my partner into this kind of like pigeonhole of you need to spend or we can't spend more than $500 on food, because our mindset was every purchase we made was for financial independence. So when we would go and purchase, like if I went to like the little trinket store, he's probably crying because he sees the computer, not me.
Yeah, sure.
So when I would go to the little trinket store and I want to buy something, and I think there in that moment, is it really worth buying this item? Because it's a trade-off for my financial freedom. It's a trade-off for my freedom. I have to work so many hours so I can have this trinket sit on my shelf and look pretty. Although I do have a nice, beautiful painting behind me and some plants, but it's like, what is enough? I was like, this is enough to this point. Everything after that doesn't have value for me. And that was like a shift of mindset to financial independence. I think a lot of people end up in this kind of like debt trap where, you know, they buy a house that's more than they need and they spend more on it. They end up buying a new car, brand new car right off the lot, which, you know, is fun, but also gets you into kind of like a debt trap. And, you know, all these things end up eating away at that financial freedom, financial independence. Um, you know, it's not about like you said, like it's not about you know, cutting away to the point where, you know, you're houseless, right? But it's thinking about those purchases and whether or not they add value, and could you go with some kind of alternative, for example, you know, instead of buying a new car, buying a used car. Even buying a used car that's 1 year old that I did was $20,000 less, and it was only a year old. So like just thinking about your purchases and thinking about, you know, is there ways think of purchasing that item, um, it, that would be, I don't know, a little bit less, or maybe it's a different item that substitutes so that you can grow that little gap of extra income, so to speak, so that you can save it, invest it is long-term goal, and be able to build up that financial freedom, savings account, bank account, passive income account, so that you can stop trading so much time for money eventually.
Yeah, I think people get into this trap a lot, and I found it too, right? We work hard, right? We work hard and we deserve it. Like, why don't I deserve the nice new car? And I think a lot of people that come
Yeah.
from poverty, who grew up on hand-me-downs or in a country
Mm-hmm.
where there weren't new buses, there weren't new things, you're fighting over old toys in the street, etc. Like, you start to make more money, or you come to a country where you have the opportunity to make more money. You think, well, why am I not good enough to have the new car? Why do they get it?
Right.
And it's a trap in the sense that if you also want financial freedom and you value that, then you'll start to see, well, okay, you could get that new car, but now you've made it so you have to work 5 years more. You know, like there's ways to calculate where if
Mm-hmm.
you had invested that money could have bought you maybe a year or two of passive income that would have been like freedom, right? Where you wouldn't have to work.
Right.
So every big, huge purchase, if you are not financially independent already, is basically forcing you to work more,
Yes.
pay it off, right? And that means more hours and days of your life. So I think that's the mindset shift of like, yes, like you deserve a new car, you would enjoy that car. There's nothing wrong, there's nothing about you that makes it so you don't deserve that car. Is that, do you want to trade that? Is that
Mm-hmm.
worth it for you? Is it worth
Yeah.
it for you to work an extra 2 years so that you can have that new car? Some people say yes. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to work anyway. I love my career, whatever. They buy the new car. And I think that's great for them. And I think this mindset is more for people like for myself, like I'm always thinking about, well, what's going to buy me more freedom? Like, I don't want the new iPhone if that's going to mean I'm going to have to work 6 months more. Now, I'm going to probably always work, but I want the option. I want
Mm-hmm.
that option, and I don't want 6 months of less options. I want
Right.
to be as close to getting that freedom of choices as possible. So I don't want things that aren't super valuable to me to hold me back.
Yeah. And to that point, like I took a year off from my job and then I went back to work. So I saved enough money to have 12 months of freedom, right? And so that's not buying two iPhones, for example. I mean, an iPhone, does it cost that much? I don't know. But anyways, it's not buying a few items so that I can deserve, so that I just could deserve 12 months of freedom to myself and go and travel. Just because someone's a doctor and making a lot of money doesn't mean they have a lot of money in their bank account. It means they need to go to work the next day. It means they need to make that money to pay for that lifestyle. And you can't take time off to be with your child or take time off because you got hurt, you know, and you need to like recover. My husband was a massage therapist and he kind of got burned out a little bit physically. He needed to take that time off. Like, you don't know what's going to be coming in your future. Saving and changing that mindset and being able to save helps you create that space later on in life. If you have enjoyed the show, please share with another Scrunchy Mama and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. For show notes, resources, and links to our other video shorts, check out our website, scrunchify.com.